Good afternoon, YouTube. We're Dublin at the Tusla protest. What's the story, everyone? Welcome to another day of protest. Good afternoon. Welcome. We're up here in Dublin, outside the Tusla building here. There's a demonstration for the children of Ireland. Protect children. Is the comments on there? If anyone's there to make a comment? Welcome. We're up here at Tusla HQ. Have a nice few barriers up here and a nice bit of a reception. How's everybody getting on? Is the chat switched on? Can't see the chat. Somebody send in the chat there if you can. See if it's working. A few patriots out here today. How's everybody getting on? Oh, fair play to you, Derek. Comments are on. Well, how are you getting on? Oh, yeah.
How are you?
I'm on live, so.
Oh, I'm sorry.
How are you getting on?
All good.
All good.
How are you, Cal? All good.
I'm Christy. How are you getting on? Recovered well?
Fucking right.
Last week, said,
You see a difference. The owner, right?
Yeah. You had to pull your jacket up over anyway. Can't be too sore now. So how long goes it now?
Not this time around, it's a month.
Month?
You see the picture, did you?
Seen pictures of it, yeah.
That's it.
Oh, it's a fair
so
fucking
bad.
splash. Yeah, look at that.
Mad, isn't it?
Looking nasty. What's the story?
Let's start here. Let's start this guy. How are you? But Nick again, they're going to board out and test now.
It's just their phone, mate.
So you don't 3 separate fucking charges, have 3 separate phone charges. What happens when I'm with people there and people in the station there, whatever day that was. Garda fucking standing there, I'll be pens that walk 20 minutes standing there, I'll be there, I have to get different pen. 2 Garda cars come staying into the station, you're under arrest. Nick me for fucking assistant.
Breaking our conditions. Don't say that.
Sorry, yeah, sorry, not a problem.
Hey, Polly. How's it going, bud? Not too bad. I'm seeing the words.
That's all right, a second.
Yeah, no problem.
I cranked it out to half the accident, locked me out, and I cranked it back in. Sending emails to people. And then taking emails.
Share out there live there, anyone, if you're in there. We're up here outside Tusla. A few people gathering here now at the minute.
Only said to the other there 2 weeks ago, kids laughing at me. I said, I'm only saying that when you're starving. And I was watching, what was I watching? Laughing. Heartland. Watching. So the horses down and he went out and he ran down kids. Cold fire. Here I am.
Well,
I know.
Well, I'm working and I'm here.
hey, man.
Sorry, long time no see. How are you?
How are you getting on?
Right, first, very good.
I'll see, brother. How are you?
Trying to. It's not easy. Oh shit going on.
Where are you based these days?
Down Wexford is other. Here, there, and everywhere. There's going to be a recovering from all that fucking in the tent, man. Take a lot out of you.
Oh, fortunate. For fuck's sake, they were from West Part 2 years, eh?
Yeah. So, yeah, took a month off. Deserve a month off.
Hey, it's required every now and then. Yeah.
Fucking right, yeah. Trying to, yeah. Right, talk after. Share the live out there, folks. Bins here, isn't it? Okay. Let's flip the wire here now.
She's like that. Let's go play some.
She's there,
He says no. It's going, Phil.
How are you? Andy, how are you getting on?
Getting on.
Good to see you.
How are you getting on, Mandy? How are you getting on? Hope all is well. Dublin City says no. Stand together in unity. No to the invasion, replacement of Ireland.
Over and rubbing the face and be twice at a fence.
Yeah, that's good.
It's Mousy. I think he's also live on YouTube. Very Mousy. Check him out.
I come tomorrow, not you always take a deep breath. Right, here's another one.
And anyone like yourself, the challenge is fake to take it in kids now. You know what I mean? You know, loads of women that protest we plan and come into our office. That's so much. What's your blood pressure? What's your pressure?
Speak the truth. We're speaking the truth. Don't be right.
How's everybody? Welcome to Dublin. We're up here at Tusla HQ. Another day, another protest. I don't think the government's doing a very good job when there's a protest nearly every day in Ireland. I don't think they're doing a great job. Someone's doing something bad. Somebody's doing something bad.
Yesterday was that's what they do. They come in all the time.
That's the crack, Paul. No problem, JC. No problem. Everybody can't make it everywhere. Did you see you're getting into the podcast now?
Getting on.
It's bad.
I was only thinking about you the other day. The last time I saw you was up above there in Bressenden.
Yeah.
Are you still up there? Or?
No, I fucking gave up.
Moved on.
Where was it? No, near the beginning of November it was. Finished up hard. There was a big storm and they took off. It was just
Hardship from then on, yeah.
hardship, yeah. The cops made me leave the camp and I was there on my own then, so I just said, fuck it, had enough. Hard.
As if you saw a little bit of fucking problems or something.
Yeah.
It's
It's just getting no whole lot of solutions. No problems, no whole lot of solutions.
I'm listening to it, and there's a new space at the start. To be honest with you, they're talking the same thing to me. Need to be done. Can't be done in space either, you know.
Yeah, I don't know. At least we keep on trying anyway, isn't it?
That's for sure.
Oh, yeah, I just want to say hello to you.
How are you?
How are you?
Yeah,
Well,
I'm doing
I
good,
see
yeah.
that.
What's the crack, Corgi?
Yeah.
You're on the morphine. Oh, geez, you're on the good sauce then, so. Huh? You're on the good sauce. Yeah.
Now 14-year-olds out here for them to take down, is that?
How much? How much? 300 for two. How's Christy? Christy, how's Christy? How are you getting on? Paul Fitzsimons is asking.
Hello there, Fitzy. Your brother's down here. What's his name?
Martin?
Martin's down here. Just talking to him there. They were talking about the Iranians. How the Iranians were back in, was back in the 1970s, where it was a peaceful nation there.
Oh, yeah.
If you think of Iran today, you automatically think that it's the same as Iraq or it's the same as Palestine. It was never like that until
It was like a Western country.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was.
Yeah.
And that's what
And now they can't even go out with the hair outside.
And that's what me, Victoria and Martin, Victoria's there, Martin were talking about. So, hello there, anyway, if you could see. I was asking there, was he coming down? He said no.
You're not coming down, Chris, or Fitzy, no?
Christy,
It's you, yeah,
take
no?
a shot of this for a roll of smoke, will you?
There, look, there's his friend, there's his Paul there.
Brian, will you hold this while a roll
Only
of
the best for you, Corky.
Just here, Brian, just hold this while a roll of smoke.
Should have rolled, yeah, head rolling in your pocket at this stage. There's only fucking 10 or something. 18.
There's 100 fucking me at least.
Sure, I've no fucking followers on my YouTube, but it's not even TikTok I'll be on.
Ah, you're on YouTube?
Yeah.
What happened to TikTok?
Banned. That's what you tend to count. Fucking waste of time. I'm just going to stick to the YouTube now. They wouldn't, I couldn't go live there for months there on YouTube either. But now I can go back live all of a sudden.
Yeah.
They mustn't have been happy with me.
I don't know,
Yeah.
I suppose I'm pretty careful. I was in the band. I'm careful, especially in Dublin. Dublin City says no. They gave me 20 years. I can't remember how many hours it was, but it was 20 years of restrictions.
How was that for?
I had to close it down. That was a couple. The one I have now, I had to restart it and lose 5,000 fucking.
Fuck. And what did they ban you for?
It was I can't remember, but it was restrictions for some billions of hours, and it added up to 20 years. I googled it. It added up to 20 years.
20-year ban.
Oh, man, I can't remember. It's just.
It must have been
probably rhetoric.
It must have been the truth, huh?
Yeah, well, that's it. I can't remember exactly because it's very hard. You know when you go in and
I know, I don't even look.
And how the fuck you can't understand what they're saying.
I just click on and next minute, boom, the count gone.
Yeah, that's it. They run you around in riddles. They talk this language to you that you never know what they're talking about at all.
Yeah. Word magic.
They go. Keith wasn't here today. Keith.
I texted him this morning.
Keith, where are you?
I texted him this morning. He must have go out of bed. See, he was coming. Fair play, Paul.
right?
Oh, Fitz.
Fitzy. Paula Bryan.
Oh, Brian, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, how's he?
Yeah.
He had
He's better, isn't he?
he had a bit of a turn there, did he?
I know. I was up in hospital. I was in the other hospital. I went up and visited him.
Yeah, that was right. It was right after, week after, wasn't it?
After. I was in the island myself. We had the same fucking bandage.
Matching bandages.
Yeah, matching bandage. There are no speakers here today, or what?
No. Yeah, Christy's up and about.
Polly's there. Polly will fucking talk the head.
He could go in there for an hour solid. Without taking a breath.
Yeah, exactly. The microphone let me hang out.
Get the riot squad to take the mic off.
Yeah, Phoenix Park there in the open. That's why I get all the wind from that. Andy.
Protests need to be taken outside the ones orchestrating this.
I know you said it.
Well, this is Tusla. They're making children disappear, so no, we can't protect the children. Who can we protect? I don't understand how human beings are able to manage to lose children. Even the crackheads can't lose children.
You know what I mean? Well, I put a big thing. You know what's open city up there. Yeah. So that made it very clear.
Thanks, Kenny. See Philip Dwyer's on live there as well also. I'll keep you on X.
Quick video. Okay, man, I don't think I say Oh yeah,
there you are.
Smaller than she fucking looks in that video, didn't she? What that
you did.
green jacket.
Oh yeah, that's kid or Nolan.
This Christy, we need one of them also. We need one of those. Tripod. See one here, look.
Right, let's get a video.
What's the sign said? Our families have suffered from a grave injustice, and we demand that social service be held accountable for their lives and actions. Fair play to the ladies. Fair play to everyone.
Donna Tusla here. Not April Fool, so if you're coming down, come down.
Come on down.
Photographs. Our granddaughter was taking one bruise, bit down in the back of her leg. And I took photographs 2 weeks.
Nice little crowd here now.
I can put that in on the chart. I can put in that bit. Put in the bit that. Yeah, okay. Sorry, I'm just going to say, just let me say this. Sorry, Sheila. Oh, Sheila, I just got
Share the live out there, folks. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed before already. I give up on the TikTok, so I'm only going to be live on YouTube from now on. No point building a following on TikTok to just ban you. So we're just going to stick to the old YouTube from now on.
You want to start? Yeah, that's how we saw it, Collie fan. What camera's on the breaking over you, leaning on in your mouth?
Switch the camera on my face, so that's what I don't know.
No problem at all.
Did you get it?
So it's overcomplicated, isn't it?
I don't know, man. I fucking give up using TikTok.
Are you not-
There it is, there, look.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Oh, it's good. Yeah, it's very
I'm sure they keep banning you all the time, Joe. YouTube. Huh? It's up in that building there, isn't it?
Where's the actual office?
I don't know.
Maybe they're all looking right.
I see they're all up there looking out.
Yeah, like that.
It's a lovely building, that's all I say.
Was it there or
It
there?
was over there.
It was over there.
Remember the cloud? Remember
Yeah,
the
they were
last time the
waving
cloud and the cloud down all the blue ends down?
No accountability for child rapes, murders and missing children. Stops now.
Live.
Yeah. How you getting on? Talk. Yeah, look. What's going on? Huh? I'll talk to you after. Huh?
Got delayed.
Got delayed?
I parked down in
Oh.
free parking for 2 hours.
Oh, yeah. It's
Better
alright.
than going across the
Yeah,
train station, wasn't it?
yeah, absolutely.
I thought it was more than here.
It was a nice little crowd all the time. For
No,
Wednesday.
as in. Better check the time. What time is on the?
You'll have plenty of time.
Hey,
You'll have plenty of time.
That didn't come for 12 hours. Russian. It neighbour knocked it up.
I'm all out there.
Huh?
More to move. The house all going down in Destin. Any updates?
Yeah, can I go to tell you everything?
Huh?
Can I go to tell you everything?
And if they move many people in there? Is it? Go down there and make a video, maybe.
There's a few houses empty. A while ago, one of our pals went in. Seems to be any empty now.
Alright.
They'll be standing.
Just one thing, lads, when the ladies are getting up here to speak today, no shouting, no loud, just let them have their stories, will you? And get it out to the whole world what these absolute monsters are doing in here as regards children. The first speaker we have is Nicola Fox.
You know the man?
Looking tip top.
We were doing the road protest. I had a combat checking on your name.
Leroy.
Sorry, Leroy.
Irish warrior.
We follow each other, don't we?
Yeah, no problem. No, I'm taking over anymore.
She's the only one I can't get a word in with.
I'm banned so many times. What?
Hello. Hi, can you hear me? Yes,
Yeah.
it's okay. This volume, this level, okay. Okay, good afternoon and thank you to everybody that has turned out today. I'm here because Ireland failed me and my son. The Irish government allowed it to happen. The Irish government are aware of what's happening in the corrupt Irish family courts. So, sadly, my story is one that I posted about to bring and highlight what's happening to protective parents, families and their children in the Irish family courts. As parents, I'm sure we'd all agree that we don't care what you do to us, but please don't hurt our children. Please don't annihilate our children. Please don't put our children at risk of harm. Unfortunately, it's exactly what they did to my son. And since I exposed our story, so many women have come forward. And I applaud you women for coming forward. I applaud all the protective parents who are willing to speak out now about what is happening in the corrupt Irish family courts, because that is what they are. The government knows about it. They're well aware. And the judiciary are allowing state-sanctioned abuse happen to our children in the corrupt Irish family courts. I've said my bit now and I'm going to calm down and say we are here today because we don't want conflict. We are here because we care deeply about our children. This is about our children. They are the victims. The crimes are being committed against our children. We are here because it's not working. The courts, the system, the government, it's not working for our government. At the heart of every family court case, there's supposed to be one guiding principle: the welfare of the child comes first. But for many families, that is not what the experience feels like. What we are seeing across many, many different cases, I'm talking hundreds of cases, many families, is a pattern that cannot be ignored. A pattern where decisions about children's lives are heavily influenced by assessors. Unregulated, unqualified, unethical, unlawful recommendations made by these assessors, and the oversight is not clear as to how they got to this decision. A pattern where reports carry enormous weight, sometimes decisive weight, yet the process by which those conclusions are reached are not transparent, correct, or true. These assessors will base their recommendations on bias, on which parent has the most money, on which parent they believe would be better placed to have custody of that child, despite hearing about domestic abuse in the relationship, despite hearing about how The perpetrator of the relationship acted domestic violence, coercive control, financial control. These issues can all be in the protective parents' affidavits. They will be swept under the carpet, and whoever is paying the most money for that report, or that assessor feels is biased towards, will get the custody of the child. And a parent is left asking, who is scrutinising this? Who is holding this accountable? And most importantly, how is this serving the best welfare and interest of the child? Let me be very clear, this is not about attacking individuals, but I have made it very clear the two perpetrators who are responsible for taking my child. His name is Jim Sheehan, her name is Ruth Moore O'Farrell, and there's the same assessor throughout the women who have come to me. I can't name her, but she is well aware of who she is. We are reaching out for her comments, we are reaching out for her qualifications, and she has run to the police to complain about harassment. I can't name her, but she will be named eventually, because there's an investigation going on in the background where these assessors are now under scrutiny. This is not about the adults in this relationship. This is about the children. This is about asking whether the system, as it currently is operating, is doing enough to protect our children. Because when decisions are made about where a child lives, who they see, and how their relationships are shaped, those decisions last a lifetime. And if the evidence informing those decisions is not properly tested, not properly scrutinised, or not properly understood, then the risk is not theoretical, the risk is real to our children. Children can lose meaningful relationships, children can grow up without stability, and children can be affected in ways that cannot easily be undone. That is why we are here today. Ireland is failing our children. The government is failing our children. Jim O'Callaghan, McEntee, you've all had opportunities to get involved and undo and help and change what's happening in the Irish family courts. Enough paying lip service to this, enough policy documents sitting on your desks gathering dust. It's time to act. Hold these people accountable, hold the judges accountable, scrutinise the assessors. Act. They are acting criminally against our children. Children deserve better. They deserve a system that is transparent, accountable, properly regulated, and genuinely focused on their long-term welfare. Children should not be reduced to reports. Children should not be defined by unchecked opinions. Children should not be separated from those who love them without proper scrutiny and accountability. This is not about one case. This is not about my case. This is about a wider concern. And it is a concern that deserves to be heard. Thank you all for standing here today, calmly, respectfully, and with assured belief that our children must come first, always.
Yes.
Thank you. Maureen, would anybody like to come up and speak next? Thank you.
Voices aren't being heard. Harry?
No, the children. Just there as a grandmother in the crowd, and who has been a big supporter of this campaign and to the exposing of the Irish family courts. Children's voices are not being heard. They're not. No matter what they tell these assessors, they don't care. The decision is already made where your children, which parent your child is going to. So the voice of the child needs to be heard, and it needs to be overseen and scrutinised before an assessor goes into a court and says, yes, actually, judge, in my case, the child has told me he doesn't want to go, but I suggest if you are considering transferring custody, you do it today while the child is in court. And my child was taken like that, in a school uniform, and flown out of the country to the UK. That's why I'm here today, for my son and all the other children that are being tormented. and are being annihilated in the Irish family courts.
Thank you, Nicole. I was here 10 years ago. I got a load of discarded material in a car boot sale, and I made some posters. And I left my home, and I said, I'm coming up here, and I'm going to keep coming up here, like all of you good people came here today, because it's been 10 years now since Tusla, the child and family organisation, stole my child, and I'm still picking up the pieces 10 years later. I'm still trying to fix my son, and I'm trying to repair our lives, and there is absolutely no help from any service in this country. What was done to me and my son was swept under the carpet, and I'm so happy that all of you came today, because I'm going to keep coming back to Tusla, the child trafficking agency, and that's all I know them as.
Hi everyone, my name is Kat, and I'm 45. I was adopted in 1980 from the mother and baby homes. Tusla is just the new mother and baby homes. It's never stopped. Our country got outraged 20 years ago and turned its back on the Catholic Church because of what it done to the children and women in this country. But yet we let this go on. It's never stopped. It's never stopped. My father tried to get me for 2 years and was refused any information. He had a house, he had a job, I was just given away. And that's what they're doing now. This is 45 years later, lads. When's it gonna stop? That's it.
Hi, Sheila here. Sheila from the Mother and Baby Homes. The mother, as I call it, the Southern Health Board. Then we have the Eastern Health Board. So I always say Southern Health Board. For years and years and years, I felt I had to search, 41 years to find my son. And it was lie after lie after lie, but I never gave up. Never. Yeah, never gave up. But I mean, there's so many wrongs, and we need an independent body. We need proper facilitators to come and take over and get rid of Tusla. Because they're not, dismantled, totally dismantled, out. They are not up to scratch. I've been here before I have a t-shirt, I should have worn it. Bring baby home, I have on it, with Tusla on it, and the Southern Health Board I have on the t-shirt. But however, no, any other job, if you did anything wrong, you'd be taken out. You'd be brought in and you'd be reprimanded, and they'd get rid of you. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that there are people here that commit negligence on their part, and some of them, the appearance of them is unreal. I've looked at some of them and I said, "My God, you're looking after children." Wow, they should be jailed. They should be. But however, no, that's what we need, and the only way to do is to keep pushing and pushing and pushing until we eventually get the door open. So I'm glad to be here, and I'll keep speaking up. Take care. Over and out to Sheila.
Curtis.
Hi guys.
I'm nervous, so bear with me. Public speaking is not my thing. Okay. The only reason it's not my thing is because I was always told, like, for legal reasons, you can't speak.
We have you, girl. We have you. God is with you. Let them hear you.
God's with you, love.
To the Mail on Sunday, I'm called Saoirse. So a lot of you know my page by Saoirse. And I chose that name for freedom. And when they ran my story in 2020, at the start of the COVID lockdowns, they came back to me and they said, oh, you have to call yourself Mary or Jane or whatever. And I said, I'm no Jane Doe. So I chose Saoirse for freedom. I think the guards know me as Saoirse and they're all following my page and whatever. But in the 80s, my father was a paedophile. And as a result of my father's actions, my mother was penalised. He fled the state, he went to the UK, and we were put into a foster home. I won't say where, whatever. Look.
Take your time.
There was 5 of us, and 5 of us had the one story. And we were put into a private foster home in the middle of the country, paid by the health board. She was a fucking cash cow for the health board. There wasn't just us 5, she had her own 5 children. She took other children, damaged children. We went on to be abused in that foster home. Dare you say that, my mother was still alive. She fought for 2 years, God help her, to try and get us back for the actions of her father and do her best. But at 45 years of age, she died of a massive brain hemorrhage while I was in that care home. We received no counselling. It was just fucking get on with it. Do whatever you have to do. When I was 16, I ran away from that foster home, leaving 4 of my younger siblings behind, trying to blow the whistle on the abuse that was in the foster home, never mind what we went through as a result of our father. My case was in the Dáil in 2020. 2019, I went to a journalist, and I have to give him credit, and I do have to give him credit because there aren't a lot of journalists out here, sorry Philip, in the mainstream media. There isn't a lot of good journalists, but Michael O'Farrell took my story, the Mail on Sunday, and he got me off the fucking hamster wheel that I was on for 30 years. 30 years fighting with the HSE, looking for answers and whatever. And what I uncovered was absolutely criminal. And the guards are behind me here now. Criminal. Because it's actually a criminal offence to withhold information that you know about kids. And that goes for any one of us standing here right now. It is our citizens' duty to fucking call it out. Never mind the guards. But there's this thing called Withholding of Information Act 2012. And it was brought into Act whatever. So any person that works for a health board, in a school or whatever, and if they withhold that knowingly and don't report it to An Garda Síochána, it is actually a criminal offence on their part for withholding it. How many social workers do you know have been locked up? No. Fucking zero! Zero, because, and that's all you can, and I understand this fucking term, pedo protectors. Because I am telling you, they are targeting our children. They've done it, as Sheila says, through the mother and baby homes. The mother and baby homes went and basically what happened was when the contracts ended with the health board, when they were paying the mother and baby homes to the nuns, they went and buried themselves under the health board. The health board buried themselves under the HSE, and the HSE went and buried themselves to this, Tusla. Where are they? Behind me, yeah. I done a sit-alone staged in protest here in 2019 by myself. I'm with a Group 4 security guard. Tried to put me out after I found out that a social worker that had dealt with me years ago, unknowns to me, had taken secret dictaphone recordings of the abuse and never disclosed it to the Gardaí. Never disclosed it until I received a data breach notification in 2019. That was the reason I was up here. Because the tapes were found in the attic. Not that they were found, that there was a search. They openly admitted, the social worker who had recorded me giving disclosures, she knowingly admitted that it was my own private dictaphone. So I just left Tusla circa and I went back to the HSE as a mental health social worker and I put them in the attic of my own home. And that was called a data breach. That was called a data breach to me by Tusla. It was more than a fucking data breach. It was a cover-up of abuse. It was a criminal offence. As Sheila said earlier, if that was somebody that worked in fucking Tesco and had their job and they robbed a loaf of bread, they'd be sacked on the spot for fucking gross misconduct of their job. Why aren't these social workers in jail? Why aren't they in jail? They're protected by the agency that withholds them. Now look at my case was the Alice case in Dáil. RTE, to be fair to them, RTE took my case on Morning Ireland, but the same thing, and my case was called the Alice case in the Dáil. And the only party that stood up for me, I went to Mary fucking Screw MacDonald's, I went to all of them, and nobody would touch my case, but Pater Sabine, to be fair to him, he took my case into the Dáil, and he likened my case to the Grace case. And on foot of the Grace case, and I asked John McGuinness, because he was all for Grace, and Grace was a child in Kilkenny. I'm not too sure if you're all aware of the Grace case, but Grace was a disabled child in care. But the primary difference here was that Grace, with all due respect, couldn't speak. But you know what? They called me Alice, but Alice could. Alice could speak.
Good woman.
And I'm doing it here for Grace. And none of this, the Grace case cost the taxpayers of this country, the Farley Commission cost almost 20 million fucking euro, and there's still no final report to the Grace case. And yet I asked for it to come in on the back. I asked for the Alice case. I even sat toe-to-toe with that Roderick O'Gorman. I believe he should be in jail. I sat toe-to-toe with him in the health offices there during COVID. And I asked him a question. I said, listen, Roderick, I said, at the end of the day, you're going on, but the money it costs. And I said, it didn't cost you, and cost the taxpayers. Cost the taxpayers. I said, put it in as an amendment at the end of the Grace report even. Because there's 16 other children that went in under that family. They still haven't been interviewed. They still haven't been asked what did they go through in the home. Do you know? And look, guys, my babies can't be taken out. And one thing I always promised myself, I have 4 boys. And they never got my kids. As much as they targeted me for those 20 years that I kept fighting, they never got my children. They never got my children. And used to be these threats, you know, shh, we'll take your children. Oh, shh. You know, but I've had arrests and I've had this and that because I've gone in and asked guards, will you check out this guy that's a pedo working in this GAA club and that GAA club, that they knowingly know that no prosecution ever came against my father, no prosecution ever against any of the abusers in our foster home. You know, and yet when you go into a guard station distraught over that, and distraught over what was I have never published that Alice report. It's not in the public domain, but that's my next step. That's my next step because The report, as Morning Ireland reported, it's damning. It gave me more questions than it gave me answers. And the answers I'm looking as to why did these people get away with what they got away with? Why? You know, so for all of you people that are out there, I don't know, I know half of you are here because
We're here for you.
you know, look, I get it. It needs to be dismantled, right? The only other thing I will say, the secret courts need to be abolished. I literally was up. I made, and I'm gonna say this for anyone that's grown up and was in the care system. There's a way around it if you want to do it. I looked for the affidavit of a social worker that would have signed an original affidavit to put us into care in the first place. Because all I wanted to see, because my mother was dead, so all I wanted to see is what did they write in that affidavit that got us put. It was all about my mother, and yet they knew about my father, and not a fucking word about him. It was all my mother. The mother's going to do this. So they're targeting the mothers, they're targeting the children. No disrespect to the men here who may be worrying about their children, you know, whatever, that are in care. And I don't mean that disrespectfully to any man that's here, I swear to you. But when I seen that, and all written about my mother, and they had the judge in the court, the local district court is where those records were kept. And there was a solicitor's team that, like, so each jurisdiction, say, would have their own, so Tusla would have their own legal team in each jurisdiction. So it doesn't always act on a higher level, it's always on the local level. And ironically, the solicitors team in the local area were the ones that were saying to the judge, oh no, I don't think she should have them. And ironically, once I got them and fought it, they were the same solicitors team from 40-something years ago. That swore the affidavit with that social worker. That social worker is now running a pub in the country somewhere, do you know? You know, and I look at, I'm losing the run of myself here because there's so much information I have, but I don't care anymore. But all I cry out, I'm going to cry out something, and I see them over there, and there's two here behind me, and I'm going to ask our local Garda Síochána to fucking stand up for us. Yeah. Stand up for us as the guardians. You are meant to be the guardians of the peace. Stand by us.
Do your job.
Hey, lads.
I just want to say one thing, and that is, unlike England, our grooming gangs have been legalised, and they're in the building behind us, and they need to be taken out.
And there's only one other thing that I have to finish this with. There's a lot of other things that goes on in a different secret court. And the other secret court is that when people like me, and when we grow up and we end up being so damaged, we're given very, very questionable under-the-counter settlement offers, and that also needs to fucking stop. That also needs to stop. They need, solicitors and all need to stop saying, no, bring it straight in where the likes of Philip and good citizen journalists and all can come in and say, this girl's after walking out of court with this amount of money that was offered under the table to keep your mouth shut yet again. Because it serves nothing. It's still trauma after trauma, and it buries into our children. I don't know what to say to you, to any mothers here that are suffering. Stand up to the fuckers and stand up to the social workers, right? You know what? Go to your local Garda station and ask the guards to stand by you when you're standing up to them, because they're acting criminally. Absolutely.
How you doing, everyone?
I just want to say one thing here today. The last time we were here in December, right, Direct Action Works, Pat Rabbit was the chair in here. And after the thing in December, he legged it. He ran for the hills, right? So, but don't concentrate on who's not here today. And by the way, shame on all yous with that big accounts that never shared the post over here that claim to be for the children of this country. And you couldn't even bother your ass coming up here today. Shame on yous all, right? One thing I want to say here today, the week that's in it is Holy Week. And I want to quote Matthew 18:6. Whoso shall offend one of these little ones which believe in me, it were better for him that a millstone were hanged about his neck and he were drowned in the depth of the sea. And that's coming for every fucking one of you, every one of you. Have a lovely Easter, everyone. Thanks for the fun here today. God bless you. Oh, come here, and if you can make it, the GPO, 2 o'clock on Good Friday. For the Saints of the Cross with Kat and Maggie Diamond. There's fair play to us.
Hi everybody. Hi everybody. My name is Edel, and I know who all of you are. You're the concerned people of Ireland. That's who you are. My abject apologies. I depend on public transport, and we got delayed, and some bus has gone into another footpath. But you know, that's another thing. And just a little bit of housekeeping. I know some people were slightly concerned why we were holding this event today. There won't be any hand signals or one eyes here. I can hardly see with 2. We're here because today is April Fool's Day. But we're letting Tusla know we are no fools. We know what's going on in these buildings behind the smart cities and the smart towns and the smart houses and the smart offices and the smart clothes and the smart suits and the smart shoes and the smart coats and the smart briefcases. They're not so smart because we know. We know, and we're watching, and we know. And I never address on Garda Síochána because they never do their job. And I do not engage with criminal organisations. People talk about what's happening now, and I can tell you a very quick story. My mother had 8 children, and that's not today or yesterday. And we lived in the countryside, and when she went in to have each baby, my father was working. So as she went in, the older sisters minded, it was quite normal, minded the younger ones. But there was a little busybody neighbour, a farmer, no offence to farmers, who thought that maybe a few of us, because my mother was having so many children, maybe a few of us should, go in for a little while. And my older sister tells me that when my mother went in to have me, I'm the younger one of the family, there was a wily old woman up the road, and she had a walking stick and a cane, and people thought she was very wicked. And if you went to her door uninvited, she'd wave the stick. And that wicked old woman came to my house, I believe, minded some of my siblings until my dad came in from work. That's the 1960s. Why did she do that? Because she knew. She knew what was going on behind the little twitchy curtains and the little, I should let them go in for a little while. This woman who had no children of her own, but she knew. And that's how long this state-sponsored kidnapping of the children has been going on, and much longer. But the difference is now, we're letting them know. We know. And all these radical garments and all these that should be on panels advising what should be happening to children. And there's like Father and Ferg and all the parents and grandparents who are willing to step up and give them their time. They are the or people that have children, not someone that can never have children and call himself a man one day and a woman another day. It's the women that are giving birth, and it's the women that are the experts. And even if you don't have children, it's your duty. It's our duty. And it's innately in you to protect the children. If you don't have that in you, You need to get scared, because if you don't want to protect the vulnerable, are you a hybrid human? Are you a hybrid human? Because even the animals look after their own. Even the animals look after their own. So for anybody that does not feel that they should have been here today when they could have been here today, as Ferg said, they're more interested in podcasts and selling their wares. I have no wares to sell, but I am aware. We have no wares to sell, but we are aware of what is going on. So we're not going to intimidate them. We don't care about them, because we're forming our own groups. And I would hope that people would liaise here with each other today and share your information, share your numbers, or at least an email or something. And for the next one, we're going to be proactive from here on in. We're not going to shout at buildings. For what? That's what they want. They're here to destroy your bloodline. I don't care about fuel lines or food lines. They're all important. But the most important thing is they're here to destroy the Irish bloodlines. And that's why they won't give the children under the supervision of maybe a suitable aunt, a suitable grandmother, a suitable uncle, whatever. They're here to destroy your bloodline. And the family, and as Michelle says, relationships. And when they destroy the mother, anyone that was close with their mother, no, when the mother goes out of the home, a lot of times the family dips down. And again, no disrespect to fathers. There's brilliant fathers out there. I talked to a young girl on the bus the other day. It's brilliant sometimes, not so great sometimes. When you get public transport, because you hear all the stories. I talked to a young girl the other day. She had 4 lovely children, 2 little boys running around. And she told me that her doctor threatened her with Tusla because she didn't want to have her children with a certain medical procedure. It's people's own choice. It's people's own choice. But this doctor held Tusla up as a weapon. Surely Tusla is there to help us. So-called help us. Surely Tusla shouldn't be there as a weapon to make us fearful. And I just say to grandparents, finally, you have a lot of power, grandparents or elder people. You have the experience. You're not worried that your children might be taken from you. I'm asking the grandparents and the people of my age group now to step up, step out, and speak up, because you have the experience from the past. We know our past, we're living our present, and we've got to make our future. So thank you so much, everybody. Our next speaker, Claire.
I'm Lucy from Northern Ireland, and this is my friend Donna. I came to the last protest you had. You probably remember me from the banner. I was with my sister that day, but we were the 2 grannies of the Chay. 2021, our granddaughter was taken into foster care. She was removed from Daisy Hill Hospital in Uri. Over 1 bruise, thin line bruise in the back of her leg. My son at the time was working in Tesco's in Uri. He had to come out of his job, and he worked the day an Irish child was born. 2021, the social worker, Miss Duffy, I'll say Miss Duffy, I don't give 2 flying monkeys anymore. She'd been in the foster care anyway. Me and Donna was at the hospital. They were removed from Daisy Hill Hospital. 1 bruise, thin line in the back of her leg. Both my son and my daughter-in-law had no criminal records. There was no evidence to suggest that they hurt the child in any way. Now they have been adopted. this is why we have the forced adoption on, and this is the reason why I got this banner made, because a big injustice was done. We last seen her in foster care. She had a black eye. There's the photograph. The social worker had said that she'd ran into the foster care's table, and that was how she got the black eye. But we took the photograph. We have the evidence. The minute I decided, no, I'm not having this, because my son lost his daughter over one bruise. And we had to accept, they wouldn't accept that this bruise was accidental. So why would we accept then that this black eye was accidental? So I thought, no, I'm not having this. I put in my first complaint, and when the complaint came back, Miss Duffy had wrote, she did not recall the child sustaining a black eye whilst in foster care. So they do lie. Further down the line in the reports that they had come out with a statement, the child had said that something, and the police was investigating. I got in contact with detective from Lisbon Police Station, which he then rang the social worker and asked about these new allegations, and they came back, the social worker said there's no new allegations, but yet and all they can put it down in black and white, falsify information, make my son look out to be some sort of monster, and absolutely disgusting. So yes, it does need to be investigation. The lies are just unreal. Recently my son has requested subject request for all his files. The social workers has point blank refused, because they know there's so much information in them files that we can hold against them. The court has come back and said that they can't find any of these files, how convenient, and the only ones that got back was the police through via email, and they seem to be the only ones, but absolutely disgusting. Zero accountability. So the whole way from Yari to support Jez, and to speak out, because nobody from Ireland seems to have a voice, and so we're going to go wherever the voices, we're going to stand in unity, because that's what needs to happen. So thank you very much.
Our next speaker, I met her, as I always say, I met her by mistake, and there's no mistakes in this world. I was meant to be at another protest, on the so-called protest information drop, and I lost them somewhere along the line, and I ended up at the Dublin. And I heard this lovely woman talking, and she was talking about Harry, and I thought, who's Harry? And then I went down to listen to her story, and it just sent shivers down my spine, and I can tell you I'm no snowflake. And it really did. And I just likened it to when my children were small. My daughter got lost for a couple of minutes in a shopping centre. And I demanded that the whole place be closed down. A woman came out of a shop and she said, I think you're going to have a heart attack. And I said, yeah, it's quite possible. I am. I want the whole place closed down. So when this woman told me her story of where her child was lifted and brought to a foreign country, how could you not listen to this woman's story and support her in every facet of it? So ladies and gentlemen, I know you're familiar with the Bring Harry Home campaign, and for anyone that's not familiar, Nicola is going to tell us about Bring Harry Home.
Thank you for the introduction. But I have spoken to the audience, I have spoken to everybody and all the supporters here today. And as I said, I need to, I'm here in the capacity for all children and what's happening in the Irish Family Courts. It's not about my case, about one particular case anymore. It's all of the children. That's why we're here today. So I have spoken to the crowd earlier. Unfortunately, not about, well, if Teresa would like to have a word, would you like to have a word, Teresa? Teresa is the lady who
on the back of what happened to me. I have served 87 days in prison in the UK for speaking out about what happened to my son and I in the Irish family courts. I was arrested and spent 87 days in style there. However, Teresa is a lady in the UK. She's an activist and a campaigner for exactly what happens in family courts. So I'd like to hand you over to Teresa Murray. Teresa will have a few words.
Hi, thank you very much for listening to me. I've for the last 10 years, and it's been 10 years on the 13th of April. Oh, sorry. I should know better. I've actually done plenty of these. But on the 13th of April 2016, we actually lobbied our government in the UK and Parliament to say we haven't had enough of the secrecy of family courts, of legalised child trafficking, of social workers not doing their jobs properly, of the closed family courts, of CAFCAS that are actually over there. And it's no different here. What is different here, though, is how secret it is. In the UK, we're allowed to see our documents. We're allowed to scrutinise those documents. We're allowed to put evidence in. And when it is done right, it is done right. We have a Children's Act. We have Practice Direction 12J. And we do have corruption in the courts, but we also have good social workers. We have good CAFCAS officers and good judges. Sadly, I would say that percentage is very short and very small. But the first point of failure in every single case, whether here, whether in the UK, whether anywhere in the world, is the police. The police have a duty of care to ensure that criminality is dealt with. Social workers are not trained in criminality. They are trained in doing reports, and they are dictated to and how they're meant to be set out. And it is true, legalised child trafficking exists because they will go after any parent that has had experiences of domestic abuse or child sexual abuse or mental health or autism.
Clinical judgment.
Well, they're not even trained for that.
I know. But that's
and the sad thing is, what they actually do is they undermine the existence of those children. Yes. Those children become teenagers, they become adults, and each of those will be facing trauma. Trauma from taken away from somebody who loves them, who cares about them, who wants to protect them, who wants to give them fairy tales, who wants them to reach for the stars. Well, they don't have that. What they have are shadows. Shadows of paedophiles, shadows of trauma from emotional abuse, psychological abuse, physical abuse, being ripped away from somebody who absolutely and so conditional. And yet, those that you have people that end up on drugs, on alcohol, and we blame them for that. And when you actually listen to their stories, you discover that it's because of childhood trauma. And we tell people that they are wrong. Nobody chooses to be born into a world where they're being traumatised, being harmed, or being hurt, or to be taken away from somebody who loves them. And that is what happens. It happens here, sadly, far worse. We counted how many scandals. We have written our website about what we want in reform, and we have detailed it, and we will be putting it out there. And it says very clearly that there have been 9 serious scandals, and one of which was actually discussed earlier on about the mother and baby units. But this is the 10th scandal, a scandal that has been living for a very, very long time, where families who reach out to the police, who reach out to the Guardian, or reach out to children's services or social workers to help them, to courts to actually uphold the law and to enforce contact, to ensure that children are able to be safe, are ignored. And we cannot have that. So I'm happy that I actually had the pleasure of meeting this beautiful woman here, because she's brought so much light to my life in actually, and interestingly, police cells to my life. So when you stand up against abuse, you will always be pushed back, but you have to keep going, because everybody has a voice and everybody should be heard. So please don't stop, keep going, keep asking for change. Think about what that change and that solution needs to be. Bring that forward. We can shout and shout and shout, but we need to bring solutions. So bring the ideas forward. Tell people what you want to see, because when you do that, they don't have an argument they can shut you down on. So keep going, and I'm not going to stop. I'm still staying with this woman, no matter what, and we're going to keep fighting, both here, both in the UK. Sorry? We have to fight the children. The children really are the future, and we want a society that actually is healthy.
Hart Frankenstein.
Hey lads, listen, I just want to thank every one of you that turned up here today. God bless the holidays. Have a lovely Easter weekend, all right? Eric Bra, and Christ is King.
Thank you, everybody. Thanks to the mothers, the grandmothers, fathers, protective parents, and all fantastic. Thank you.
Okay, folks, I'm going to end this live here. Thanks for joining in. Oh.
Sorry, could I just ask people, a little bit of housekeeping. There's two words I said I shouldn't have said.
Can you get on any? You send them over?